What's going on, fam? We're back, and today's video we're going to be explaining how to buy a drift car or how to drift on a budget while being reliable. All right, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to be using my car as an example, which was my Miata, because Miatas are a budget. Well, they were a budget at the time when I bought the car, but if you do your research, you could probably find a Miata for cheap. So this is what we're gonna explain. So you're in the market and you're trying to buy a Miata, and let's say you find one for 2 grand. You know, that's like, I think that's like a good price. You know, because I paid 2 grand for my Miata, and it's a 1.8. So we're gonna be using my car for example. So okay, you purchased your car, 2 grand, boom. One thing you want to do before you buy, before you even take it to the track, first things first, if you had already purchased it, or if you haven't purchased it, you want to make sure you have no pulley wobbles on any pulley. You have any pulley wobble, it's going to be doing major effect on the motor. So pulley wobble has to be out the way. This is one thing that you could check before you purchase any vehicle. Another thing is, you don't want any leaks. You want to make sure all your oil leaks are taken care of, all your exhaust leaks, and you'll be good to go. The reason why you want that is if you're leaking oil and you have an exhaust gasket leak, you will regret that. You will probably cause a fire, and that's the last thing you want, is you in the middle of the track with the fire extinguisher trying to take your car out. Another thing is, have all your fluids. Make sure you have your oils, you know, fresh oil, fresh transmission fluids, and fresh differential fluids. Once that's taken care of, you're almost there. You're not fully there, but one thing, when you go to the track, your engine will get really hot because you're not going very fast. You're taking corners, so your engine tends to get a little bit hotter than the usual. So you want to take frequent breaks. Now, if you have a little bit of extra money, you don't have to buy an expensive radiator. I have a Mishimoto one that's like, I don't know, top of the line almost. But if you don't have a lot of money, you could just go on eBay or Amazon and buy like a replica of this one. They all do the same, trust me. That's if you have a little extra money. Now, you purchase your car, you're not leaking fluids, you're not, you know, your gaskets are good. All right, you're almost there. Now, before you do anything, let's say you just bought the car, you want to make sure you go around your car and you check all your bolts, all your nuts. You want to make sure everything is tight. Last thing you want is you go into the track and then your axle flies out due to that it had a missing nut. You know, that's the last thing you want. Make sure all your nuts and bolts are tightened on your car. For this car, it's pretty simple. You probably all need a 10, a 8, a 12, a 14, and that's it. Just have those wrenches on your side, and it's easy to check the whole car if you're good to go. Another thing to check before you buy your vehicle, it's kind of hard, you know, checking these before you buy your vehicle, but try to, you know, see if the guy will let you, you know, have your money on hand to show them you're serious. Another thing you want to check is your bushings. You want to check your motor mounts. You want to check your control arms bushings. You want to check your rack and pinion bushings, the rear bushings, every bushing you need. That's another thing that helps you out when you're at the track. You have good bushings, you could tell a big difference between old bushings and new bushings. Now, let's say you checked all that, but you got some extra money. These are some things that you might want to upgrade or buy. Even though before I was boosted, I went ahead and purchased the oil catch can. This does its job. These are like $20 to $30 on Amazon. You want to make sure you have a nice coolant reservoir. Another thing is, if you got some good money, get yourself some upgraded brake system. Get some steel braided brake lines. You also want to make sure you change your brakes, your front and your rears. Another thing you want to also change is your clutch. You're going to be clutch kicking a lot, especially on a Miata that's not boosted, and especially if you don't have a hydro. I don't use a hydro. I was going to use a hydro, but I don't need it. So upgrade your clutch. Still stick with your stock OEM flywheel. You don't need to upgrade your flywheel. So make sure you get yourself a nice little clutch. There's a bunch of options out there, a lot of options. Please do not go eBay unless that's up to you, but something like that, I would not like to replace another clutch within a month. So get yourself a good part, so it'll save you a hassle in the future. Now, so you upgrade your clutch, good to go, kind of. Now, if you don't want to be tossing around everywhere when you're at the track, get yourself a bucket seat. You get yourself a bucket seat, it keeps you kind of from like flying everywhere, you know, especially if you're drifting, you're hitting corner to corner. You know, you don't want to be like shifting everywhere, flying everywhere inside of your car. So you want to make sure you buy yourself a bucket seat. There's a lot of cheap bucket seats out there, and there's a lot of expensive ones. That's all up to your preference. Make sure you get the right size. Each seat is a different size. Don't just buy any seat. You could buy a big seat and you're a little guy and you're flying everywhere, you know, because the seat's not your size. So get yourself a nice seat. Let's see, what else? That's pretty much it that I suggest. Just make sure your car's up and running, no leaks, and everything's up to date and is idling fine, and you're good to go. You don't really spend that much money going drifting. A lot of people do, like they buy a bunch of tires, but you could go out to the junkyard. You could go to like America's Tires or Goodyear's Tires. You could go to them, and what they do is they throw away their used tires. A lot of people go and get their tires changed, but at the same time their tires are still good, but Goodyear and them can't resell them. So what you could do is you could just ask and then go through their big piles and find some tires that you're just gonna burn that day. You know, you could find yourself like 6 sets and, you know, go through those tires. They might not last long, but they were free. That's another one. If you're going time attack, then I suggest you buy, you know, some RSRs or some good actual grip tires. Don't cheap out on those, unless you're going to be spinning out everywhere. That's all up to you. But for drifting, you could just go there. If you land jackpot, you got some free tires, and you could, you know, burn those. Have some free time. All right. Now, I drifted my Miata without boosting it, and all I have done when I purchased that, before I purchased the turbo, I actually only had headers and a clutch, and that was it. And I was sliding pretty good. It is a little bit harder to slide with like NA power on it. You know, there's a lot of like clutch kick in, but you know, saves you a lot of money, saves you a lot of time, and you're good to go. Now, if you want to go ahead and boost your car, these are the main things you want to go ahead and make sure you have. You want to make sure you have a new clutch, a nice cooling system, your transmission has to be good, differential has to be good, all new fluids. Now, you don't have to spend $5,000 on flying Miatas turbo kit if you don't got that type of money. If you do got some good money, go for it. But let's say you have like a $2,500 budget, and this is my budget. I didn't spend that much, so I spent $150 on the turbo, about $100 on the manifold. Piping was like $50 for the intercooler piping. I didn't buy that intercooler, but you could buy one for like $50 to $70, and then that's kind of it for the front. You know, you will spend like, I want to say, another $50 on nuts and bolts when you trying to buy yourself your own DIY turbo kit. You will go through crazy trying to find nuts and bolts that fit, so I want to give it like a nice $50 to $60 on clamps and bolts. What else? Okay, a downpipe. I purchased this right here, which is a V-band little end fitting. This was, I want to say, $25 to $30, and then I spent 140 on getting the downpipe made, and that was at an exhaust shop. Also, what else? That's pretty much it. As in the front ECU, I would leave that up to Craig Peters to show you guys whether you guys want to buy an ECU or not. I suggest to buy an ECU. That saves you a lot of hassle. Get your car tuned and you're good to go. I bought myself the Mega Squirt plug and play 2. That was about $600 at a refurbished one from DIY Auto Tune, and I spent $550 on a tune. And I'm not lying, I believe I didn't spend no more than $2,500. I probably spent like $2,000, and my Miata is pushing 200 horsepower, and that's pretty good. But at the same time, before I boosted it, I went ahead and had my motor rebuilt. Only reason I did that is I wanted to make sure everything was good. Oh wait, before that, I also upgraded 2 parts. My fuel injectors, I got the RX-8 ones. That's like going budget. You could probably find those for $100 on OfferUp, or you could probably find them on, I want to say, you go to the junkyard and pick them up for like $20 if you have some time to look for them. And besides that, I got a fuel pump, which was the Dashworks 200 Dashworks 200 fuel pump, and that one was about $80 to $90 from Fab 9 Auto Tune. That's just to support my fuel injectors. All right, so that's like the turbo method if you guys want to go ahead and go turbo. Now that's a big difference from $2,000 Miata to like a $5,000 Miata. I'm over exaggerating, but those are the biggest numbers I could think of, because you always run into problems trying to do something, trying to boost some. I ran through a lot of problems trying to boost my Miata. Like, I had to buy bolts, I had to buy small gaskets, I had to buy all kinds of stuff, running back and forth to the parts store. So those are the max prices I give. So another thing you want to buy when you buy a Miata or any type of vehicle, like a 240 or anything, suspension. There's a lot of money to be going into suspension. You could go from $300, you could go from $500 suspension to $2,000 suspension. For me, I have I think it's like $700. I have the Megan Easy Streets. Those are perfect for me. I like them. I don't, I have no problems with them. Those were like $700. Another way to boost your Miata or boost any vehicle or to gain more power on a budget is start saving now before Black Friday. Black Friday has a lot of big discounts. Like, you go on F4 Sport, you could get turbo, you could get almost any car part at a discounted price. Those were gonna be like, I don't remember how much, but I know I got like a $300 discount. That's one thing you want. They sell all kinds of stuff like gaskets, all kinds of stuff you'll need. Throw them in your shopping cart, wait till Black Friday, and then boom, buy them. You save yourself a lot of money if you're not in a rush. So that's one thing. Overall, I mean, all I could say for you guys is just make sure you have no oil leaks, no leaks any type of way, anything that you wouldn't want to buy, off of a car. Like, if I'm selling you a car and it has a massive oil leak and you don't want to buy it because of that, that's probably a thing you should fix. So you want to go ahead and make sure your whole engine and drivetrain management is good. And there goes like a reliable, drift build. You won't be going back and forth. Yes, parts do break, but at the same time, you could prevent that. You could change your bushings. You could do anything from preventing that. But that's all up to you. This goes for almost anybody out there. I haven't really seen any people actually talk about, drifting a reliable car. Me, I don't want to say I go to the track a lot, but I take my car everywhere, and I'll go sliding. I'll drive to Mexico, go sliding, and come back. And I'll make it home. Me knowing that I'm not gonna be coming home on a trailer. Reason why is because I know what's in my car. You also want to visually inspect your whole car. I see a lot of people that don't do that, and next thing you know, you get a freaking wheel flying out on the freeway. Always make sure you check your cars. That's one thing you want. One more thing, I know I couldn't mention it because I didn't think about it while I was talking to you guys. Always have a nice clean inner intake on your car, so when you gonna go drifting or anything, make sure you have a nice clean intake, or just upgrade one, make one from home. They're pretty simple. I did when I was running just headers, so that's what I suggest. Nice intake, nice cooling system, and you're good to go. You just got to make sure everything is up to date on your car and nothing bad. Otherwise, as in people buying steering wheels, you don't need an aftermarket steering wheel to go drifting. Like, honestly, what's wrong with the OEM one? But I have one because that's my preference. I also have a short shifter. Why did I buy that? Because I wanted to, and I like it. I like the way it feels, nice and short. So that's pretty much it. And also, when you buy a bucket seat, so you won't be flying everywhere, you don't have to buy two. I only have one. One, the person next to me is not gonna be drifting. They're gonna be flying everywhere. But hey, I didn't tell them to get in my car. So for me, just a bucket seat. That's it. And get yourself some wide. Also, another thing, you want to get yourself a wide band, even on OEM. Like, not on OEM, even on non-turbo car. You want yourself a wide band because that helps out a lot. I'm telling you, whether you're running rich or lean. That's another thing you want. You don't want to be running super lean and not knowing. Your car doesn't tell you. The MIATA doesn't throw a check engine light when you're running super lean. But wideband will be able to tell you, and then you could just try to fix that yourself or figure that out. So that's pretty much it. I have nothing else to say for this video. If you guys have any questions, any comments, go ahead and drop that on the description below, on the comments below. Go ahead and like this video, subscribe. I hope you guys have a safe weekend, and that's pretty much it. Stay tuned for the next video, and peace.